We are ready to work day and night through the weekend for the next couple of weeks to make sure that this happens. But I want to put it to Justin Trudeau and the Liberals that we're getting very close to a final offer on the table. And if they do not come through with their commitment, if they break their promise by March 1st, there will be consequences. We are fighting for people, not for pharmaceutical companies.
NDP leader Jagmeet Singh today saying his party is approaching its final offer on pharmacare for the feds as that March 1st deadline approaches. The NDP have said that they want a universal single-payer system. But Health Minister Mark Holland told my colleague Vashi Capellos that he is not ideologically bound to that model. So what's at stake for Singh? And if the Liberals don't deliver pharmacare, will they face a political consequence? Let's bring back the front bench panel. Sabrina Grover, Melanie Paradis, Guratin Singh, and Rachel Aiello. Sabrina, what is at stake here, let's say, for the Liberals? Because then they would lose support of the NDP if they don't meet this March 1st deadline.
I think it's kind of challenging to understand what consequence exactly Jagmeet Singh is proposing here, because it has been very vague and the timelines and the goalposts have moved frequently since last year. I think for the Liberals, though, when we think about the politics of pharmacare, there's a couple of things that they really need to think about before putting their plan on the table. I think number one, they need to think about the coalition of voters that they want to bring together and whether or not they've still got runway to bring those people together through their child care and their dental care investments. And I think they do. I think they haven't really spun out the runway on those and getting people on side and getting people to agree that those have been really good investments. And so when you think about that, is pharmacare the right investment to make right now, given that it's not polling in the top top 5 issues, it's not even polling in the top 3 healthcare issues. And then I think the next thing that they need to consider, we're heading into budget, what are their fiscal anchors and what are they going to do to continue to make life affordable? And that's what's going to come into play for them. And I think that this threat that Jagmeet's posing is probably not going to be as important.
Yeah, and Melanie, that is key because we know the Conservatives will be watching, as Sabrina said, with that budget to make sure that those fiscal anchors remain there, even though Chrystia Freeland had said that she's committed to them, and we know that pharmacare would mean billions of dollars.
You're right. But it sounds like, from everything that Mr. Singh has been saying, he doesn't actually expect pharmacare to be in this budget. He's looking for a piece of legislation that would enable it to exist at some point in the future. I actually think that this is a very smart communication strategy for Mr. Singh. He's been on message consistently. We've been talking about this for, I think, 3 weeks now. He keeps hammering at this. I think it's starting to permeate, which would be a very good thing for him. People will see him as fighting for people, fighting for this cause, whether it's polling really well or not. That's their political consideration. But ultimately, from a communication standpoint, he's being quite clear. And I think that even if they don't get what they want, if the NDP doesn't get this in the end, he has been successful in communicating his message and making it clear to Canadians what he's standing for. And I think that that's a success for the NDP. And frankly, it's also a success for the Conservatives, because when the NDP do well, we do well too.
Yeah, that political calculation is always at play for Conservatives. Guratin, what do you think about the political move of possibly pulling out of this deal? Do you think that finally drawing that line in the sand and saying, I'm standing up for pharmacare, plays well at the doorstep for Jagmeet Singh?
Well, this is actually the important thing to understand about Jagmeet Singh, my brother. For him, this is not about a political calculus. This is about helping people. And whenever these issues come forward, be it dental care, be it pharmacare, he thinks and he always remembers the stories of people who are struggling to make ends meet and are cutting pills in half, people who can't afford the medication they need to get better. That is at the heart of his decision-making process. So right now he sees an opportunity to bring in a foundation that would help millions of Canadians get access to the medication they need, and he's going to fight unequivocally, he's going to fight undeterred for this goal. Keep in mind that the Liberals are kind of painting this as this, big cost bogeyman. We are the only G7 nation that has universal health care and does not have an accompanying pharmacare plan as well. This is something that Canadians need. There's going to be an amazing cost savings down the road when we look at the impact it'll have on preventative health and the savings we'll have in our healthcare system. this is an important move to make, and that is what's focused, and that's ultimately what Jagmeet Singh is going to be fighting for, and that's what motivates him, helping people and making sure people who are sick get the medication that they need.
And Rachel, you're seeing some polling out there that is showing that it's resonating with people.
That's right. Well, at least in the sense of the real issue out there. 1 in 4 Canadians, Leger reported this week, splitting pills, skipping doses, or deciding to not renew their prescriptions. More than that, are also having those financial conversations or calculations of buying less groceries or going into debt to continue to afford their medication. So certainly this could be an element the NDP play on in terms of the broader affordability conversation. What I've actually found the most interesting in the last week is this focus on the contraception conversation, putting in the window very clearly that they are pushing for emergency contraceptives and birth control medication to be included. I would suspect that this is the NDP thinking that should they need to go to an election fighting on, hey, we pulled out of the deal over pharmacare, this is a way they can point to, your feminist Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, said no to birth control coverage and we're fighting for you. I think they're trying to find a way to differentiate on the progressive side of things. And if they continue this line of messaging about whether or not the Liberals want to support pharmaceutical coverage for this, it could be interesting to watch.
And it's one of those things where they're sort of picking apart things. And as you said, really trying to hit the Prime Minister where it could hurt and what he's tried to campaign on for so long.
Absolutely. And I think in this conversation of all of the other concerns about healthcare, it does help to get a bit specific. Like if you're talking about one item, you're hitting a bunch of people who use that medication who are like, oh, I'm keying into this now. This broader pharmacare conversation could be a bit ephemeral and hard to pin down. But if you come across a headline saying, hey, there's a proposal on the table to have the medication you take covered, you might pick up some more eyes, specifically in this instance, female voters.